Record on. Okay, so I'm being recorded. I'm getting all your beautiful faces now, and it's going to be on the internet forever. But I'll go back to what she was saying.
The Copilot Studio fits in to allow you to extend and customize your own Copilots. And if you have a fun game on the side there for every time I say Copilot in this video, good luck to you. Let's start from the top here. The word Copilot is Microsoft's brand, if you like, for anything they do where they bring generative AI into a Microsoft experience. So this is why there's about 150 of them, because there's lots of different.
So AI is artificial intelligence, which I covered in previous classes, but it's the big thing out there. And Copilot is using artificial intelligence to do what it's doing. And so is ChatGPT.
Different experiences across all sorts of apps, from Windows, Edge, PowerPoint, Word, Dynamics, Power Platform apps, GitHub. There's Copilots all over the place. So as a starting point, Copilot is just used as that generic term. And then we have Copilot for all these different things. Microsoft Copilot as a single brand name is this. This is your everyday AI companion, formerly known as Bing Chat or Bing Chat Enterprise. Got to say, happy about this rebranding. This one makes a whole lot of sense. The idea here is that this is something that you use in your Edge browser. It does support Chrome as well, to work with generative AI, being able to do a ChatGPT experience, but with some context of what's going on in the browser. So the way this works is that you go to this address, copilot.microsoft.com, in your browser. You will be prompted to sign in. Now you'll see here that you can sign in either with your personal Microsoft account or with your work address. The experience of what you can do will be the exact same thing. The difference is that if you're using a work address with a business Microsoft account of some kind, then you're getting some commercial data protection. So here's me signed in with my personal Microsoft account. You'll see that I've got a chat experience here where I can work through things. It also has context of your browser history if you want that. You don't have to have that, but that's something that can help with the context of the conversation. Not sure I'm a big fan of that one. And here is me signed in with my work address, and you'll see exactly the same experience, but we have this protected. Now, what this means is it's not actually accessing any of my tenant data, any of my business data in the background, but it's accessing what I give it. So I'm going to take you through showing you some things that I work with in the browser here. So this commercial protection means Microsoft has no eyes on what I'm doing. It's not collecting that data to train the model. Whereas if you just signed in with your public free Microsoft account, that is not commercially protected in the same way. So use that for anything that's not sensitive, personal use, just having some fun with generating images and generating content. But if you're using this in a workplace context and you've got perhaps confidential information, you want to work with proposal documents or planning documents, then when you're using this, it is protected and it's not being shared with Microsoft and not being shared back with the models. But the functionality is the same. So that's what I mean about this one, that everyone can use this. You do not have to be paying for it. You do not have to be an enterprise customer. So let's take a look at some of the things that we can do here. First up, you can generate images. So just to pick up on a bit of a viral trend that's going around at the moment, let's see if we can use this to create an image. We'll get this reminder as well, your personal and company data are protected in the chat. I'll try to create that. This is obviously not the image I've asked for. This is the cute little placeholder image. And what it's going to do is access the DALL-E 3 image generation models. It's actually here now accessing another product called Image Creator from Microsoft Designer. That's another new free tool you can use to do all sorts of cool design things. And there we go. Not too bad, actually. Does that look like me? Maybe. I could be more specific and add some badges on the jacket and come back and have fun with those things. So image generation is one of the things that you can do here. The other thing you can do is to ask it to generate things for you. So I'm launching my new range of chocolates. You'll see I'm not giving it very much context or information here, which is never the best way to get the most out of AI, but just to show you that you can generate some text here based on that prompt, copy paste that and take that along with you. But this gets far more valuable when you start to give it context. So let's take a look at how it can work with something in your browser. We've got a new announcement of a product feature here, and we want to run a webinar on this. What we've also got on the side here is this pop-out code.
So I don't want to keep that going. It's a long one, but I just want you to get the idea of what we're dealing with. Now, introducing Microsoft 365 Copilot, you have to pay for that. I think it's like either $20 or $30 a month, and you have to have Office 365. I do have Office 365, but I have not used this very much, and I'm not going to pay for it at this point because I don't need it. But it can do all kinds of things for you. I'm just looking, is Copilot free? Yes, parts of it are free. They're saying, is it worth it? Well, again, that's the part you have to pay for to get a more detailed Copilot. And so if I go to a new tab, this is Bing. So this is the browser I have open is Microsoft Edge. And when you open to a new tab in Edge, you go to Bing, and you will notice right here on the search, here's Copilot. Eventually. And here's some of the questions I asked in the past. I asked it to look up my phone number, and it says it won't look up phone numbers. I asked it Scott's age, and it came back with this and that. But these are various things you can do. What is something fun you can do tonight? Skyview Observatory, Gasworks Park, Beneath the Streets. So it knows that I'm in this area, and it's telling you things you might be able to do in this area, meaning Seattle mainly. How do I go back? Again, this is a learning process for me because Albert got me all involved in it. And so again, I want to refresh how you get to Copilot if you have Windows 11 and you're fairly well up to date. So in the lower right-hand corner on your taskbar in Windows 11, there is a Copilot Windows preview. You click that and it comes up and you can type your question. And again, it depends on what question you type, how long it takes, but it's going out there and gathering all this information. It finds my name. It knows that I've taught classes for KCS because that's on the internet and everything like that. So that's one way to get to Copilot. Windows 11, lower right-hand corner, it says Copilot in Windows Preview. And you get this. Another way, let me move you guys out of the way here, is to go to Bing or open any browser. So I'm going, this is when I open my Microsoft Edge, a new tab, it goes right here and it shows right here, Copilot, open Copilot. You open Copilot and there's various things you can do. But this is in the browser for Microsoft. The other way to get to it is Microsoft Edge up here in the upper right-hand corner has a Copilot also. And you can type in there. So there's a lot of information on Copilot. I don't want to get too carried away at the moment, but in my document here, I have all these things, shortcuts to Copilot and examples that you can follow and use if you want. But it is interesting, depending on what you're looking for, If you want to find out if your spouse has committed any crimes in the past, you could probably look up his name, or anything out there on the internet with you and your name will probably be found using Copilot. But this is the less intensive one. The one that you pay for is more intensive, and it will spend more time with a bigger gathering of things that it can go get. So my first question is, can you see any use for Copilot? Yes or no?
Larry,
Yes.
I just heard on the a comment on my favorite talk show this morning that there's been a survey and employers who are hiring people are more interested in the fact that they know how to use the GCP, that's the one that they mentioned, than if they have a college degree anymore, that getting a college degree isn't all that important anymore. But the use of this AI is. Are these two programs similar in how to use them? What you would ask for? And my big problem is I don't know what to ask for or how to ask for it.
Right. Let me look here. I thought I had something. Well, let me just do a search on the internet. And I like Google mainly for my searches, but you can use any one. So compare Chat GPT and Copilot. That's what came up when I started typing. So it says how Copilot differs from Chat GPT. Copilot focuses on software development assistance, leveraging AI to suggest code snippets and solve programming problems. Chat GPT provides broader conversational capabilities and can assist with various topics, including coding. Is Microsoft Copilot better? In constant to the free versions of Chat GPT, which is limited to being an AI tool that generates text or conversational style with information, Copilot can access the internet to deliver more current information, complete with links to sources. So what is the difference between Copilot and Gemini or ChatGPT? Anyway, there's a whole list here that you can go through, and all I did was say compare ChatGPT to Copilot. And let's see.
Did that in the Copilot?
What's that?
Did
No,
that
search on the internet, period. In my browser, I went to Google and did a search. So I'm in my Edge browser, but it doesn't have to be the Edge. You can do it in any browser and just type in what you're looking for.
Okay, thanks.
And here's ChatGPT. Is a chatbot developed by OpenAI and launches in November 2022 based on large language models. It enables users to refine and steer a conversation towards a desired length, format, style, and so on. That's from Wikipedia. And I go to what's a ChatGPT? I don't have a sign in or sign up, so I'm not using ChatGPT, but you can get to it and you can sign up for it. It doesn't cost anything to use. But that's the comparison. If you want everyday look up things, you can actually use either one if you're a member of ChatGPT. One may have good things over the other, but I can't be specific because Albert made me stay up all night and I got tired and, you know, but I'll blame Albert for everything.
There we go.
But it's very interesting. I enjoyed it. And there's so much you can do. And again, Copilot is mainly a Microsoft thing, so it works in Microsoft programs and in Windows 11. So in Windows 11, lower right-hand corner, Copilot in Windows Preview. In the Bing browser, you have up here Copilot you can click on. And also, if you go to Bing, which all I got to do is open a new tab, here is the Bing search, and you can open Copilot and search things. So those are the three things, and depending on what you're looking for, that's all about Copilot. Again, I have not used it that much. It's been fun playing around with it, but I don't know how much you're going to use it. But depending on what you do, it might be something worthwhile, at least to play around with, to get familiar with. Any more questions on that? Okay, just a couple things to show you here real quick. I do have 8 different email programs, and I have them all tied here to my Microsoft Outlook. So I have lad@comcast.net. I have ladlad2017 at Outlook. I have ladli5678@live.com. I have ladssg75mail@gmail.com. I have lad5678@gmail.com. I have ladlad2011 @hotmail. I have dal@Comcast. And I have ladhi@Yahoo. So I basically went to all these different places where you can get email, because I was teaching these email classes early on when I was teaching at the old building that they tore down in Silverdale. And I just generated all these, and I have them. And once a month, I go to them and I do a test just to make sure. Let me find mine. So here's my April 1st test. I just send an email out on each one, and it comes back just to show that I'm using it. And I don't use them all that much, but you can have as many email accounts as you want. Some Microsoft, some Gmail, some Yahoo. And I have them all tied in one place, so I can get all my information. The other thing to note here is in my, and you can do this in your browser, whichever one you use, I have Edge that I use, and I have 2 different browsers open. I have my main browser here, which shows Facebook, and I have my dashboard for my Ring, and I have my latest news. But I have a second browser open, and it is showing the things I've been teaching you from. So I have 2 browsers in Edge open. You can do that in your browsers too, if you want to. So you can, all you got to do is say, right here, I'm going to right click on this tab, and I'm going to say, open, no, where's it at? Move tab to a new window. Boom, I'm going to click that. Oh, now I got 3 browsers open. 1, and you look down here, you'll see 1, 2, and 3 browsers all open. So that's just some information I thought I'd throw out to you. So you can have more than one browser, do more than one thing at once. I'm going to go back to my document here. So I got all these things that you can get to and go through. I don't want to spend any more time on the Copilot, but if you got more questions, let me know, and I can do more in the future. The next thing I have is 10 lies scammers tell you to separate you from your money. So again, all you got to do if you get my PDF is hold down the control key, click on this, and it's going to open in my browser. And here's 10 lies scammers tell you to separate you from your money. and it goes through these different ones, but don't trust anyone. They're not in it for you. But where are we at? Come on. Oh, act now. A common tactic scammers use is to pressure you to act now immediately. Don't think, just do it. Well, think, use your mind. Don't just do something that you get in an email. Don't trust anyone. They're in it. They're on it. The scammers who rip off told her that she'd been the victim of an identity theft scheme serious enough to land her behind bars. So they're lying. They're lying. Do this or you'll be arrested. That's another one people have gotten in an email. Another one, don't hang up. Yep, a scam. Con artist may ask you to stay on the phone. Now, again, I have a landline and I have this free program tied to my landline called Nomorobo. And it's free and it works on most of the different ones. So Nomorobo. Robo. Yeah. Nomorobo. And Nomorobo is a service, so on and so forth. And it works on most things. I have Comcast. It works on web, the other one that's in the area. But I don't think it works on, let's see, AT&T, Spectrum, Fox. So it works on most of the things, but all you got to do is sign up, put your phone number in, and it will stop any robocalls. What happens if I get one on my phone here is I'll get one ring and it will stop. And that's what they do. So they have a big, huge database out there of scammers and bad phone callers. And there's still some to get by because it takes some time to get into their database, but it's called Nomorobo, and you can get it. So move your money to protect it. It may seem obvious, but instructions from a total stranger on the other end of the phone telling you to move your money from your bank to an investment credit account. No. Withdraw money and buy gold bars. Well, actually, Costco is selling gold bars now that you can buy. But that's Costco. This isn't somebody calling you on the phone. Withdraw cash and give it to anyone. If you're sensing a trend into you're into something, never hand over cash to anyone, no matter who they claim to be. Go to Bitcoin ATM. No, I'm not going to do that. Buy gift cards and send them to me and give me the PIN. Well, nowadays you can go try to find a gift card in some store and somebody's already hacked it and used it, and you pay $50 and it's all gone. So you got to be careful of those things. So anyway, 6 simple cybersecurity rules you can apply now. Don't panic. A grizzled veteran on the computer security industry once shared a priceless piece of wisdom with me. Don't just do something, stand there. So think about it. If something happens, you're scared, just be careful. Scammers are using AI to impersonate your loved ones. They can, excuse me. They can go out there and find things online from people you know and record it and change the wording and send it to you saying, I've been arrested, I need money. So be careful with his AI is going crazy. Don't open unknown attachments. That's my number one thing. You get an email, sometimes even from a friend, if you're not sure it looks weird, don't click on the attachment that's there, because immediately you can get viruses on your computer. Don't click unsolicited links. Social engineering works by exploiting people's trust. A scammer who puts even minimal effort into the phishing attempt can do it by credible jobs of mimicking a legitimate email. I get these emails all the time from banks that Chase and these things. I'm not a member of Chase, but it says your account's been hacked. Let me check here. I saved a couple. Here's junk email. A new affordable 4K drone, so on and so forth. But look at the email address. It's new offer at Express. Here's one from Mount Royal Funding. Here's one from Tiffany Harding, director at Dangerous Car something in ZA. I don't even know where ZA is. But I get these all the time, and most of the time they go to junk. If not, I send them to junk. But most of them are pretty easy to tell that they're scams. They're bad emails. So don't click on unsolicited links. You don't need to pay for security software. The security software industry wants you to be afraid. As part of the effort, they will try to convince you that a core protection built into your PC, Mac, or mobile devices cannot possibly be as good as a product we sell. Well, I use the Microsoft antivirus program. It's good. It's highly rated. None of them are perfect. You pay for it, they're still not perfect, because the bad guy changes how he does something, and until they find how he did it and put it in there, he can get through anything. But once he does it a couple times, then it's going to get caught, and they're going to put it in an antivirus. So you don't have to go out there and buy one. You can if you want to. Don't mess with perfectly good PCs or Macs. When it comes to keeping your computer secure, I have a slightly different take on the classic management advice. If it ain't broke, don't break it. So be careful about what you do. Use a password manager. I use a password manager. I pay for it. There are a couple free ones. I used LastPass and they got hacked. It's a free one. I think they fixed most of it, but when they did, I went and signed up for one that I pay. I think it's like $35 a year for, and it's called 1Password. It is highly rated, but every place I go is in here, and the password for that place is stored. So all I got to do is remember 1Password to get into to get into 1Password, and all my others are available to me. When I go to a website, they come up automatically. So I like 1Pass. But you have to choose what's good for you. And it depends what you do. I do the computer a lot. So I want to be safe. So it's well worth it to me to be careful. So the next thing, stop me if I'm going too fast or you want more or less or what. 6 top scams to watch out for in 2024. This is from AARP. Top scams to watch out for. Check cooking scams. Banks are trying to get people to use less and less checks. If you use a check and you send somebody a check, make sure you use a pen ink that is not dissolvable. It's got to be a real good ink pen, because if somebody takes your mail and takes the check and they call cooking it or scamming it, the ink will come right off and they'll rewrite it to themselves. So last year, the big thing was check washing, where thieves stole paper checks, from postal boxes, mailboxes, or even carriers, and then wash the checks with chemicals, keeping the signature by erasing the amount and the payee, and then they changed it for themselves. Consider using a safer payment method such as a credit card. I pay all my bills through my Navy credit union, all my monthly bills and everything. So I can't think of the last time I wrote a check. Voice print scams. Thanks for technical advances. It's possible for thieves to capture a recording of your voice and then use a software program to generate an imitation deep fake version of what you used to impersonate you. So be careful. Delayed action sweepstakes. Yeah, well, send me money. You won the sweepstake, I'll send you your money. Don't do it. Virtual celebrity scams. Celebrities have an online presence for years, but the trend lately gained momentum during the pandemic when stars who couldn't make public appearances tried to stay connected with their fans by doing online concerts. Pay for an online concert and you're going to get scammed. Be careful. Multi-stage grandparent scam. Again, they'll pretend to be your grandparents. Paris Olympic scam. The Olympics is coming up in Paris. They're going to try to invite you to pay now. So anyway, that's another one to be careful of. And all these are available in my document here. This is a sort of an interesting one. It's a scam tracking map that I got from AARP. And it takes me, when I go on there, to my zip code, and I can click on dates. Let's see. I'm going to click from the first of the year till now, do a search, and it's going to tell me the different scams in this area. Let me focus in a little bit. So I live in East Bremerton. Here are 6 scams that have taken place this year so far. If I click on that, you go down here and you'll see family imposter scam, health-related scam, debt-related scam, fraudulent scam, real estate scam. And if you go here to click, and it shows you how much money some people have lost. This is one where somebody lost between $1,000 and $5,000. I was friends on Facebook with someone who said they was a general in the U.S. Army, so on and so forth. So you got to be careful. But this particular thing from AARP shows you the area, this whole area, and the different scams that are taking place. For example, in Silverdale up here, here's 6 different scams or more. And most of them aren't that expensive, but they're still losing money. Phone scams, health related, debt scams. So you can click on any one of these and you can get this. All you got to do is, you should be able to get it by taking my PDF, but you might have to log in. I don't think so. And I am a AARP member. So that's sort of an interesting thing. Stay safe on social media. This one wants me to log in. And remember, I have my 1Password. So all I got to do is click on this and it will go there, find my AARP login. And then they want me to verify something down here. So I will type what they're telling me, REG. Then it says login. It doesn't have to be capitals or small, they just put it in. Processing. So even though I have this one, you probably can't get into it because you'd have to have my password. But if you're an AARP member, you should be able to get in. And here we go.
The Federal Trade Commission received 163,000 reports about scams that started on social media and which cost consumers a total of $1.2 billion. And that's just what was reported. The actual numbers are likely much higher. So how do these scams work? Well, they start with a hook to entice you. That may be a fake ad, a giveaway, or a contest with an exciting opportunity like a steep discount on a hot item. Then the web page they link to is fraudulent, designed to steal your payment or other personal information. Or it starts with someone messaging you directly. They may claim to be a celebrity you follow and encourage you to donate to a phony charity or put money into a so-called great investment. And then there are the romance scams, where a criminal with a fake or stolen profile will strike up a conversation. After building trust over weeks or even months, the scammer begins asking for money. Now, given the range of scams on social media, it can be difficult to learn about them all, but they do share some common red flags that you can look out for to protect yourself and your loved ones. Consider these tips. First, be wary of people you don't know seeking to connect with you. It's best to only accept friend or follow requests from people you already know. Keep in mind, scammers often impersonate celebrities to connect with their targets. So be skeptical if that famous person you follow suddenly reaches out to contact you directly. How can you spot imposter profiles? Well, we've put together a short video about the signs to look out for and the actions you can take to identify scam accounts.
You're on social media and someone you don't know wants to connect. How can you be sure this profile isn't a fake? Look for the signs of an imposter account. Sign 1. The profile has been created recently. Sign 2. They'll have few friends or followers and few posts. Sign 3. What they have posted just looks like recycled content or images. Even their profile picture may be a stock image taken from somewhere on the web. If you suspect an account is an imposter, you can do a reverse image search. This can reveal the source of an image. Using your favorite web browser, type reverse image search and follow the directions. We'll show you one way to do this, but you can find others by searching in your favorite browser. One way is to start by right-clicking the image and selecting Copy Image Address. Then, go to your search engine of choice. Click the camera icon in the search bar and paste the image address or link. In some search engines, you can click Find Image Source. Examine the search results. If you see many instances of the image across other profiles, or find that it's a stock image, don't engage. If you see any of these signs, ignore the request, block the account, and report the profile to the social media platform. For more tips on staying safe, visit aarp.org/FraudWatchNetwork.
The video talked about using a reverse image search to identify a fake profile. Well, it's important to note that images created by increasingly sophisticated artificial intelligence tools will be much harder to discern as fake. But the other tips for identifying scam accounts still apply. Now, let's go over ways to guard against clicking on fake ads and links. The danger with these ads and links doesn't just come from typing sensitive information into a fake web page. No, the moment you click on something fraudulent, it may load malicious software or malware right onto your device. And this can be used to steal sensitive information or carry out other scams. Even if the link comes from someone you know, be careful. Their account may have been hacked. If a link from a friend comes out of the blue with no context, contact that person offline and make sure they actually sent it. And rather than clicking on links anywhere online and in emails and texts, go to your web browser and type in the web address you know to be legitimate. Beyond what you click on and who you interact with, it is equally important to be careful what you share on social media. Have you seen those little quizzes and questions that sometimes pop up asking you to share trivia like your high school mascot? Well, they may seem harmless, but that factoid just may be the answer to a security question for your online bank account. These quizzes can get you to share details about yourself that criminals can turn around and use to commit fraud. Now, the whole reason we're on social media is to connect with other people, right? So it's only natural to want to include your contact information in your profile, things like your email address or your phone number. You might think nothing of sharing your birth date, but doing so just gives criminals information they can use for scams. So it is best to keep those details hidden on your profile. You may also want to post fun updates about your life, including your trips. But you ought to be mindful of the fact that if you share details about a trip away for anyone on social media to see, it can leave your empty home vulnerable. But scammers don't have to suck all the fun out of social media. Fortunately, you can adjust your privacy and security settings to make your account more secure and make it easier to stop scams. You can choose to make your profile private, meaning only confirmed friends can see what you post. You can opt out of targeted ads, reducing the chances of a fake one popping up. You can prevent other apps from accessing your profile and avoid linking your account with apps elsewhere. And you can turn on two-factor authentication, meaning you'll receive a verification text message or a phone call with the code you type in to confirm it's really you signing into your account. Knowing how to safely engage on social media can help to relieve some of the stress regarding scams. And I hope you've come away from this video with a better idea of how you can use social media safely by being cautious with new friend requests, updating your privacy settings, pausing before you post, and avoiding clicking on any links. Always report suspicious activities to the social media platform and report fraud to the Federal Trade Commission. If money was stolen from you, report the crime to your local police or FBI. And as always, you can find support from the AARP Fraud Watch Network and Helpline at 877-908-3360. Thanks for watching.
So there's all this information out there that is so, you have to hear it time and time again for it to sink into your old brains. Not so much mine, because I'm 29, but all you guys listen to things like that. Yes, Pat?
Is Instagram considered social media?
Good question. I have no idea. I mean, my main thing thinks about Facebook, but I really don't know.
Yeah, because I go on and I look at my sons and a few others and I click through, but you have to click on them to see the picture sometimes. And I wondered if, just what am I clicking? Yeah, I could probably Google it.
First, I gotta know how to
STAGR.
let me back up here.
AGRAM.
STAGR.
ST is in Tom.
Oh. Yeah, I'm a horrible typist. Is Instagram
Considered social media.
yes, Instagram is a photo and video sharing social media application.
Okay, thanks.
The answer is yes, yes, yes. So you've got to be careful on all of those. So any of you guys that are going to go on vacation or something, put it on Facebook and I'll check you out and I'll send somebody over to rob everything in your house. But yeah, Google it. That's what I do. Google. That's how I find a lot of information. And like I said, I stayed up all night Googling Copilot, all because of Albert. Okay, we have a little bit more time. How can I tell if a web app address is safe? This is my guy, Ask Leo. And I'm gonna click and watch his video.
How can I tell if a web address is safe? Hi, everyone. Leo Notenboom here for AskLeo.com. Here's the question I got. Security, when clicking onto a website, confounds me. Some sites put the section of the site you are wanting ahead of the web address, for example, photos.kodak.com, and some put the section after the example, kodak.com/photos. These examples are just made up, but I hope you understand what I'm saying. How do I know if I'm on the secure website I'm supposed to be on? At times I see other addresses flashing by on the toolbar that are not the site I clicked on before the actual site appears. Yeah, it's a simple question. And unfortunately, I'm going to call it opening a Pandora's box of issues that relate to how URLs are constructed, which we'll talk about, and in some cases, how URLs are used. But it's important information to understand so that, like you say, you know you're going to the site you think you are. So there are three, what I'm going to call three basic components to a URL. A URL is short for Uniform Resource Locator. Basically, it's the thing that identifies something else, where that something else is digitally. The one you are by far most familiar with is HTTP and HTTPS. So the primary components of a full web address, I'm going to use an example. The first part, the domain, in my example, https:// that tells me it's a website, www.somerandomservice.com. This identifies the server, the actual physical computer somewhere out on the internet to which you are going to be connecting. HTTP identifies the protocol, but the rest identifies the machine, the actual machine that you're connecting to. Now, following that, you'll often see things like folder/page. In your example, you had kodak.com/photos. It's the photos part of that example. This specifies exactly what it is you're requesting from the server. Literally, it started out and is often mostly the same kind of thing you might see in your file explorer. It's folders full of pages. So you might have a folder called photos and then a page on it called summerphotos.html. Then by requesting that, the server that you've connected to now knows what page you want and it sends the page to you. Following that, there can also be what are called parameters. Question mark, parameter equals value, ampersand, parameter equals value, and that can go on for actually many different parameters. These are computers we're talking about. And while a page sometimes is a page, it's just a piece of HTML code that gets copied to your screen when you asked for it. Very often, in fact, I'd probably say most of the time these days, it's not. It's actually a small computer program that generates the page on the fly. The parameters then are pieces of information that are passed to that program and give it information that for that particular display will make it happen a particular way. You might say, parameter equal, username equals Leo, or country equals US, or language equals EN. Those are the kinds of things you might see on a full URL. Now, we need to talk about where those pieces actually start and where they end, because this is where things start to get misused by spammers. So the server that's being contacted begins after the HTTPS:// or HTTP if you're still doing that. But it then ends at the immediately following slash. So, for example, in this URL, HTTPS:// www.somerandomservice.com/ a bunch of other stuff, the server name begins after the double slash and ends at the very next slash, www.somerandomservice.com. Now, that can be misused. For example, what if you saw an URL that looked like https://www.somerandomservice.com/ www.paypal.com? It might be easy to think that you're connecting to paypal.com, especially if there isn't enough room in your browser's address bar or wherever to show you the entire URL. That www.paypal.com there has nothing to do with PayPal. That, because it's after that slash, means that it's a page on the server, somerandomservice.com. You've not connected to PayPal. You've connected to somerandomservice.com that is then serving you up a page named www.paypal.com. And yes, that can happen. Let's look at the other end of the URL or of the server name. Server names are essentially what are called domain names. AskLeo.com is a domain name. Somerandomservice.com is a domain name. These are things you purchase, you register. Like I have registered AskLeo.com, and coincidentally, I've registered somerandomservice.com. The stuff that goes in front of that, though, like the www, that's up to you. Once you own the server name, somerandomservice.com, you can do anything you want in front of it. www is one of them. In your example, photos.kodak.com is another approach. The difference is that by convention, everything that's in front of, or everything is part of that domain name and just in front of it, references a specific server. So that means that, in theory, www.somerandomservice.com and somerandomservice.com without the www could be two completely different servers. Typically, they aren't for obvious reasons. The www is kind of optional, and it's there and it's not. But specifically for your Kodak example, that's a great way to manage the infrastructure. Kodak.com might be their sales site. Photos.kodak.com might be their photo collection site on completely separate machines. Okay, great. We could do all sorts of stuff in front of the domain name. What if we did this? www.paypal.com.somerandomservice.com. What are we getting? Once again, it is not paypal.com. We are accessing a server identified by www.paypal.com.somerandomservice.com, which is owned by somerandomservice.com. In other words, it's probably trying to trick you. Once again, if your address bar is not big enough to show you the entire URL, it is possible you could see https://www.paypal.com and not realize that there's more to the story. And that more to the story is taking you to a completely different place. Another example, a really extreme example, is setting up a site called www.paypal.com many dashes.somerandomservice.com. Totally legit domain name. And as you can tell, if your address...
I wanted to stop it here for a minute because that is important when you go to different websites. You need to be careful because if you get an email and those websites are in your email, they can be very confusing and you got to be very careful when you go to one of them. It's important in an email. I can find one here real quick. So when I click on this particular one, I put my mouse on it, it says https:/askleo.com, and then behind the scam type of thing. So it is following the normal what he's talking about. But when you get something in an email, you got to be very careful about what you click on. I just wanted to jump in and mention that as we.
Bar isn't big enough, you wouldn't realize that some random service.com was involved at all. So it is important to understand just what those pieces are and what they mean. The only thing that truly is PayPal.com in my examples is something that says PayPal.com/. And that has to be the first single slash in the URL. PayPal may have wwws in front of it. It may even have its own subdomains, as they're called, in front of the PayPal.com. But PayPal.com/ is PayPal.com. Now, things get even weirder. I told you this was a Pandora's box. %2f. One of the things that character encoding allows you to do is to encode any character using its numeric equivalent. That's particularly important for either characters that are not visible, like say a space, which by the way is %20, or not printable, like backspace or Control-G or any of a number of other characters. So that's what the % allows you to do. And as it turns out, %2f is a slash. What that means is that when the browser sees it, it treats it exactly like a slash. So once again, remember, the server being contacted is the server after the HTTPS// and ends at the next slash. In an example on the site, I've got https://www.somerandomservice.com %2f/www.paypal.com. What that's really accessing is somerandomservice.com /www.paypal.com. In other words, it's not going to PayPal. It's going to some random service because that's where the slash was placed, even though it didn't look like a slash. Now, one final thing I want you to understand, and that is HTTPS and secure websites. Connecting to an HTTPS website confirms that you have connected to the site you asked for. But it is not necessarily the site you think it is. That example just up above, https://www.somerandomservice.com /www.paypal.com could absolutely be HTTPS. And you might think that it's accessing or going to paypal.com because of the way it's constructed. Except it's not. The server you're going to is somerandomservice.com, and that's the server you asked for, regardless of what server you think you are asking for. My point here is that about HTTPS, you can't read too much into it. It's important to ensure that when you ask for the correct site, you are getting to the correct site, and that your communications with that site are indeed secure, but it is not telling you that you're connecting to the site you think you are. That's an important distinction. So what really is the bottom line here? Well, for any URL you're about to click on, pay extremely close attention to everything between the HTTPS// and the immediately following slash. That is the domain. That is the name of the server you're actually connecting to. Everything else is potentially distraction. For updates, for comments, for links related to this topic and more, visit askleo.com /4399. I'm Leo Notenboom, and this is askleo.com.
Well, there's so much there. I hope that was informative to everyone because you just gotta be careful. I mean, you get so used to doing things online and you gotta think first. Use your mind, even though yours are old and mine's young. Use your mind and make sure what you're seeing and think about it. Don't act quickly. So we still have a few more minutes. I'm going to click on this next one. It says, don't be ashamed to schmug. That doesn't, it's very unusual, but
Don't be ashamed or smug. Hi, everyone. Leo Notenboom here for AskLeo.com. I know this is an odd admonition, but it came to mind in light of something that I heard in one of the podcasts that I listened to. When it comes to falling for the various online scams we're all faced with almost every day, people tend to fall into two buckets. Too ashamed to admit that it ever happened to them, or too smug to think that it ever will. Both approaches are very wrong. Let's talk about smug superiority first. This has turned into almost a stereotype. In fact, quoting a summary from the podcast, the cybersecurity community highlights a small group with a sense of smug superiority, which is counterproductive and has become a stereotype. It's essential to learn from stories and not fall into the trap of overconfidence. Absolutely. And unfortunately, yeah, it's almost a stereotype. Techies, cybersecurity people, they all tend to, when they hear about somebody falling for a phishing scam, they often will look down their noses on them and think, how stupid were they or whatever, when that is not the right answer. And it is not the right way to think about this at all. Now, I may have said all security professionals. That's actually not true. It's a subset. And I'm trying not to be one of those. I hear about it too often to have that sense of it can't happen, because it can. It can happen to everyone. I want to stress that anyone can fall for some of these scams, even the computer experts. And indeed, a couple of these pros on that podcast did regale us with some stories of situations where they or family members or people that absolutely we would think should have known better fell for something, and in some cases lost some money as a result. Never, ever think that it will never happen to you, because someday, somehow, it will. And in part because you think it won't. Now, the other side, and this is honestly the side that I'm more concerned about, is shame. That people who have fallen victim to a scam of some sort feel ashamed for having done so. And as a result, they keep it to themselves. They don't tell anybody. They don't tell their friends. They don't tell their family. They don't tell the authorities. They're just so ashamed of having fallen for a scam that they don't want to admit it to anybody. I'm here to tell you, it is important that you admit it and that you tell people. That's because people need to learn. People need to see that it happens and that it is happening around them. And they need to learn from your experience how to avoid them. I know you're going to learn from your experience, but by sharing your story, you're helping others to avoid the same fate. There's something else I want to stress here, and that is you're the victim here. You are not at fault. The people who do these scams, the folks behind them, they're the folks who are at fault. They're getting better at what they do. I've come like a mouse click away myself from almost having fallen for some of these. So please don't think it's your fault. Make sure that you learn of course, what you need to learn so that it doesn't happen again to you. But share your story, please, be it with family or friends, be it as a comment here, be it wherever. Share your story so that others can learn as well. I hope this makes some sense. I really hope that you don't feel that sense of shame and embarrassment. It's natural. Don't get me wrong. It's absolutely natural to feel that right away. But as you process it, realize you're the victim. And it's the other folks, the scammers, that deserve your ire. For updates, for comments, for links related to this topic and more, visit askleo.com/.
Well, that's interesting because not long ago, I was looking to get down an Adobe Reader and I went to a site and I didn't realize that when I downloaded something, but it was a scam. I thought it was very normal, natural to download an Adobe Reader. Well, it wasn't. And I had to reinstall a lot of things on my computer. So everybody gets into these things, and don't be ashamed. I think that's important what he said. Just learn from it. I'm not going to have time for the next ones. There's other things here, and I never finish because there's so much to do. But I wanted to remind you, even though I started this video late, you're gonna, if you watch it online, you're gonna say, well, boy, he started late. Oh, well, I am recording it and it will go up where I started. If you want a copy of this document, and again, it's 34 pages long, but it is an accumulation of everything I've done over time. I will send you a PDF if you send me it to one of my 8 email addresses, ladli5678@live.com. And I hope I answered some questions. I hope you learned something. And if you have any questions in the future, go ahead and send me something the day before the class like Albert did, and I stay up all night trying to figure out what it is. I'm really lying, Albert. That's okay. I'm glad you did it because I learned a lot myself. But I'm going to pick on you anyway. That's what I do. So, any questions before I sign off here and get rid of you guys? Okay, well, I am ending the class. I am stop sharing. And now I see all you guys. And I hope you learned something. That's what's important. So
Thanks, Larry.
Thank you, Larry.
send me an email if you want more information on something in particular, or else I will continue throwing this junk at you. We'll see you a month from now. All right. Have a good one.